you have to do for the hi-hats. Start off with normal hi-hat, you know, two-step with some variations here and there. You have a hi-hat on top of it, and it's higher on the notes. There's a ton of hi-hat rolls. Make sure you have the hi-hat rolls. That really adds to the spice of the whole thing. Then we add another hi-hat pattern beneath all of them. So these are the hi-hats all together. So we have the main rhythm, we have a higher one with some rolls, and then we have a lower one with a ton of rolls. And the biggest tip for this is just make sure that some of the hi-hats that aren't the main rhythm ones, they're placed in places that the main rhythm ones don't play. So for example, this note right here, if we go down, this is the normal path. There's no normal hi-hat there, and that just makes them stand out more. If you play them all on top of each other, you won't even really notice a difference. And then for the snares, again, like the hi-hats, we start off with a really simple pattern, you know, just on the half. Something I like doing with my snares is actually to raise the high ends of them. Quite often they sound way too low, and they just end up sounding like the no-lie snare, and nobody likes the no-lie snare. And then just like with the hi-hats, we add another snare pattern on top of it. And this one, it has rolls. And you might notice this whole song I've made kind of in a 2-bar loop, but I actually extended it out to 4 bars just for parts like this, where the first snare roll right here, I can actually add at the end of the repetition, and instead of being low like the last one is high. And that just prevents the beat from feeling too repetitive, you know? You don't really want that. So altogether, the snares sound like this. And then it's time for the sound effects. This is really what makes the whole beat feel super full. So often if I add tons of hi-hats and snares like I have here, I'll make sure that I add some sound effects. We start off with a simple perk that repeats every 2 bars, just like most of the song. And then of course we have to have the open hat. Then we have a crash. It's like the other perk, except it only repeats every 4 bars. It has a ton of reverb on it that's necessary, and then I also boosted the stereo width by using this wheel. And then next, a simple triangle to go on the quarters. Then of course to the main part, the kick. This is not a special kick. The Lunch 77 Pureborn drum kit, super simple, easy to find, so you can find it on Google. It just sounds like this. The way I made this bass is not from any Serum bank. I made this myself. All you have to do is get a sine wave in Serum 2. This works in Serum 1 too. Add a default shapes. You can use any of these, and make sure the level of this is really low, way lower than the sine wave. And then add a ton of unison. Make sure the detune is low. If the detune's high, then the bass will just sound like a synth, and you don't really want that. And add some decay and whatnot, but make sure the sustain is quite high so the bass doesn't fade away. Got yourself a nice, rich, distorted bass. All of the drums together sound like this.